video on a subject that can be considered a beginner subject, but many players who have been playing this game for a while still make this mistake, and that is having layers in your attack, attack and defense march. So basically, just to summarize it real quick before I get into the details, on your march preset, on your attacking general, you need to have layers of all troops, and obviously the main type of troop is going to be maxed. So if Electra is my ranged general, then I'm going to max out on archers, my T14 archers and my T13 archers, but I'm going to have a few troops of every type and of every layer. So I'm going to have like 500 warriors or 1,000 or 100, it doesn't matter. You need to have layers, and I'm going to have 500 of each: mounted, siege, and ground. And I have maxed on my archers again, and then I'm going to have again 500 of mounted, siege, and ground. And I'm going to do this for T11 and my T10 troops, my T9 troops, and so on. I'm going to have 500 of each or 1,000 of each all the way down to my T1s. I'm not going to skip a single layer. And that is because the attacking and defending in this game is turn-based. And what that means is that all my troops get a turn and all the enemy troops get a turn. So let's say I'm attacking someone and he has 1 million archers defending. So I don't want his archers attacking my archers right away. I want them to waste turns attacking my layers. So I want them to attack my 50 mounted troops from T, or 500 mounted troops T14, another 500 mounted troops T13. I want him to waste 13 or 14 turns just attacking the layers of my mounted troops, and then he's going to have to take another 13 or 14 turns attacking my ground troops until he can attack my range troops. So because it's turn-based and you can attack one target per turn, each troop attacks one target per turn, then you want to have all the layers, or as many layers as possible, so the enemy has to waste time attacking those layers. And I'll show you a quick example real quick from one of my saved. This is an old report, but it's very relevant and very informative. So this guy, Wolf Coach, he's a really big player, and he's a pretty new player, so he probably spends a lot of money, but he's much bigger than me, and we were fighting in the temple and he just got destroyed. So he lost 250 million power and I lost 500,000. So this doesn't make sense if you look at it, because he's much bigger. He should be able to crush me, and we need to understand the battle report and see why he lost. And my buffs are a little bit better than his, but that's not the point. I'm gonna go and look at the battle detail because this is the real issue. And he defended without any layers. So you can see he has 444,000 ground troops, 665,000 ranged troops, T14 ranged, and he has about 800,000 mounted troops, T14. So from the battle report, you can see 238,000 mounted troops went to the hospital, and 555,000 mounted troops went into the graveyard. And then he has a few T13 mounted troops. This is his army, so he has pretty much about 1.7 million T14 troops, and that's much stronger than my army, but it's not layered, it's not built correctly. And if you attack or defend with an army without many layers, you're probably gonna lose very badly. There are exceptions. If you're countering the enemy, then you might get away with it. Like if you have 2 million ground troops and the enemy sends only range, then you might still win just because your ground troops are going to be really hard to kill. But generally speaking, you need layers all the time. So this was his defense, and my attack was similar to what I showed previously. It's layered. So ground troops, I had 1,000 total, 38 survived. T13 ground troops, 38 survived, 962 are in the hospital. And then I have my T13 ranged, my T13 mounted, 48 survived, 952 in the hospital, and so on. So I have 1,000 of each layer, and then I have the range, which is usually buffed up because I want I want more range. This is a range general, and my attack destroyed him. And we need to understand why. For instance, why didn't his range troops, he has 665,000 T14 range troops, why they didn't kill anything, while I don't even have T14 ranged, I only have T13, and my T13 range troops killed 1.1 million. So we need to understand why. And the simple explanation is layers. So his range troops are gonna need to kill my mounted troops before they attack my range troops. So his range troops are gonna attack my ground troops, my 1,000 mounted troops here. So he's gonna take a turn and attack my 1,000 mounted troops, and then the next turn he's gonna attack my T12 mounted troops, and on the next turn he's gonna attack my T11 mounted troops, and so on until he kills all my mounted troops, and then he's gonna have to go through my ground troops. So those are his turns for his range troops. So you can see he got about 8 turns here and killed about 8 layers of my troops. And let's take a look at my 850,000 range troops T13. So he doesn't have any layers. So the first attack I have, I'm gonna probably kill all or half of his T14 mounted troops on my first attack. And on the second attack, I'm going to kill the rest of the mounted troops and the T13 mounted troops. On the third attack, I'm going to target his ground troops and kill them. And on the fourth and fifth attack, I'm going to finish his range troops. So obviously it took me more than 4 or 5 turns because he had 8 turns with his range troops. He had 8 turns to kill my my layers. So it took me a total of 8 turns to zero him. But you can see that during these 8 turns, he has to clear my layers, and so he's only killing 100 or 1,000 of each, while I'm killing a lot more. So you need to have layers, even if you're sending ground troops or siege. You need to have 100 of each layer or 500 of each layer. It's really important, and if you don't do it, then there's a good chance you're gonna lose. So remember to, in your March preset, this is only for PvP, because when you're attacking monsters, there's a different mechanic. So this mechanic is only for PvP, whether it's kill event, SVS, Battle of Shalans, or BOC. You need to have layers of all troops, and then for your main troop, you obviously maximize it. And there's another point of sending not only T14, but having a few of your strongest layers of archers. So I wouldn't send only T14 archers. If I had 2 million T14 archers, I wouldn't send only T14 archers. I would still send the T13 and T12. And like I said, this goes back to the layers. So let's say I have 2 million T14 archers, they might be wasting a turn killing 100 or 1,000 enemy ground troops, T13 enemy ground troops. So I don't want my archers, to take 14 turns to kill 14 layers of trash mounted troops. So that's why it's important to have a little bit of all layers. So my T12 layers can kill 1,000 enemy mounted troops from T12. And my T11 can kill 1,000 T11 enemy mounted troops. So you still want a little bit of the other layers just to clear enemy trash layers. I hope that explains it. I can go into a little bit more detail, but the general thing to remember is to have layers. And even your strong troop types, try to divide it between mostly T14, some T13, and some T12, and so on, and have layers of everything. Otherwise, you're probably going to lose. And that's the way you do it. That's it for now, guys. Have a good day.